Good afternoon. Welcome back to our first class where we're resuming the laws of davening. We took a little break to learn the laws of Hanukkah, but now we're going to go back and learn the laws of davening. So we left off in Siman Kuf Vav Beis, which is 106.2. So let's get right into it. Misha Toraso Umnaso Kagon Rashbi Bechaverov Mafsik Lekriyashma Velo Letvila Aval Anu Mafsikin Bein Lekriyashma Bein Letvila. Somebody like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was a Tana, was a rabbi of the Mishnaic period, the times of the Mishnah, which was around the times of the Second Temple, so about 2,000 years ago. So if you're somebody like him, you stop your Torah study to read the Shema, but you do not stop your Torah study to daven. So what's the reason for this? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was a person who all he did was study Torah. He didn't work for a living, he just studied Torah, and Hashem provided his sustenance for him, and he didn't stop the entire day from his learning Torah except for his bodily needs, whatever he had to do. And Hashem, when he was in a cave for many years with his son, hiding for the Roman authorities, and Hashem did a miracle that a carob tree sustained him when he was there. But then the Shulchan Aruch says, "Aval anu mafsikin bein lekriyashma bein letvila." But us, we stop our learning to daven and to say Shema. So Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, who was on a very, very high spiritual level, he's the one who wrote the Zohar, the main book of Kabbalah. So one of the pillars of our of the oral Torah, who his entire day was spent studying Torah, he did not have to stop to daven. But us, even now, we have people that study Torah all day. We're not on the level of the high spiritual level of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. However, there is, the Rambam writes at the end of Shemitah V'Yovel, Hilchos Shemitah V'Yovel, that just like in the times of the temple, the tribe of Levi stood apart and they served Hashem, and they didn't work the land, and they dedicated their lives for Avodas Hashem. So too nowadays, someone who has the inspiration to serve Hashem and spend his life dedicated to Torah study, it says Hashem will provide him with his basic needs. Doesn't mean he's going to be wealthy, but means if he's really dedicated to Torah study and he wants to dedicate his life to it, Hashem will provide for him. But still, those people nowadays, even though they spend their whole day studying Torah, we're not at that level where we don't have to daven. So nowadays, practically, everybody stops their learning for davening. So let's see what the Mishnah Berurah has to say. Kagon Rashbi, Kagon Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, Dehem lo hayasukim klal b'malachtam. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai and his compatriots, they did not stop learning even to work. So the whole entire day was just studying Torah, and they were just focused on that the whole day, and they didn't waste any time. They didn't stop learning even for a moment. Right? It's a very high level. How many of us can learn Torah the entire day without getting distracted, without picking up the phone or whatever it is? However, we who stop our Torah learning for work, of course we have to stop in order to daven. So if we stop learning for work, then of course we have to stop learning to daven. However, even Rav Shimon Bar Yochai would say Shema. The reason is because saying the Shema is a Torah level obligation, whereas davening is only rabbinic obligation. Now, we mentioned that a few classes ago that there are those that say that davening is a Torah mitzvah. But even those that hold that davening is a Torah mitzvah, nevertheless, the Torah never set a specific time to daven. You just have to, according to the Torah level, you only have to daven once a day, but the rabbis later set specific times for davening. So the 3 services that we have daily, that is only rabbinic in origin, even if you hold that the general mitzvah of davening is of Torah origin. And when they would read the Shema, they would read it with the blessings. And then after they read Shema and the blessings, they would just go back to their Torah study. Now the Mishnah Berurah raises a very interesting point. It says that we only learn Torah on condition to fulfill it. Right? We don't just sit and learn about a lulav and esrog, and we don't actually take the lulav and esrog. We have to fulfill the Torah. We can't just learn about it. The Torah has to be put into action. So, and it says that if someone just studies Torah but doesn't put into practice what he learns, it's better that he wasn't even created. Mikol makam tefila hoil ve'ena ela bekachas rachamim kila mishar mitzvahs. But he writes, since davening is just a request for mercy, it's more lenient than other mitzvahs. By these people that don't stop from their Torah study all day. Right? What's the purpose of learning of davening? Is so that God is merciful upon us. So we are more lenient that these people that were just studying Torah all day, it seems like they don't need this special prayer which generates mercy because they're so dedicated to service of Hashem by learning Torah all day. So again, the beginning of this sif doesn't really apply nowadays because we don't have people that are on the level of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai that don't ever stop learning. But so practically we do stop to when we're learning to daven, and we're going to learn next time, God willing, what happens if you are learning in your house and it comes time to daven. Do you have to stop? Are you allowed to continue learning until later? Or maybe will it be different if you're teaching a class? Because learning Torah is so important that there could be certain times when we don't have to stop under specific situations. We'll see different opinions about that. And hope everyone enjoys the rest of their chilly weekend.